For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock.
Oh, thanks for following, Ariana.
But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
The murder happened between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. and I don't have an alibi from 10 p.m. till 7:30 a.m. Okay, then it looks like the game has begun. If I can't prove an alibi for that period, then I just have to prove the murder didn't happen during the time I don't have an alibi.
We've established a time frame for the murder.
Sprinklers.
Somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
There's something that happens in the garden at the same time every morning. Thinking back, the corpse was almost totally dry, in which case I should be able to figure out when the body must have appeared in the garden.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
No! Come on, Makoto, don't scare me like that. Oh, it's... same mistake.
Established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night.
That's wrong!
Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on! I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words!
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
I need to prove that it wasn't the sprinklers that got the body wet. All I have to do is hit Toko with certain evidence and that should do it. If we look at the body itself, that should make it clear. Okay. Aha.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! You don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! You don't know anything!
should prove it. Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Kyoko's the only one without an alibi, which would mean that Mukura's killer is... No, I refuse to believe it. Kyoko murdered someone,
I'd
that's...
just like to say one thing. If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
What?
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial, something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
A certain something at the scene was used to cover the body? Would it have been... tarp?
I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Why would Kyoko say that? Why would she want to make me look like the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. The tarp. It was used the way Kyoko said. The tarp must have touched the body, right? But the body...
Wait, something's not right.
And what might that be?
I can't worry about Kyoko's motivations. If I don't do something, everyone's gonna think I'm the killer. I have to refute what Kyoko said.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
I remember the blood on the body hadn't dried yet. Yakoi even warned us not to touch it, to avoid getting any blood on us.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Which argument?
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side...
No! That's fish. Yes, I see. So what you're saying is I have absolutely no idea.
Shoot!
No!
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water.
Also.
Shoot!
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless.
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the bottom, of course it didn't get dirty.
Oh, okay.
No, it's wrong. Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it. Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
Yeah, he washed one side.
If they had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh, yeah, true.
More than that, What if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage?
What? The blood was camouflage?
What if, after the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinklers, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim?
You mean someone else's blood? Where would they get something like that?
I know! They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office. That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
No, that's not what happened this time. The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
Got blood from right there in the garden, right? Which must mean... chicken.
I got it! Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder, there were only 4.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken and then covered the body with its blood? Man, that's messed up.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The ground was completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
I think so.
No?
Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up. What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off. But the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body, the coat they'd already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off, at 7:30.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe, but still.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
That's not...
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
And the suspicion falls back on me again. But why? Why is Kyoko trying to entrap me? I don't understand.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide? Let's flip a coin. 50-50 odds.
Oh!
See? Pretty good idea, right?
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
You know that knife we found all black and burnt?
It's one we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right? According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before. That's what I thought when I first saw it. I just remembered.
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah.
Then why did you hide that fact?
It's not that I hid it. It's just...
I couldn't be sure of what actually happened last night. I thought maybe I really did kill her.
Suspicious! Very suspicious indeed. The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced you did it. 12,000% convinced.
Considering everything up until now, I should be able to make it clear. I have to prove that I didn't murder anyone. I'm not the killer.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto.
We've already established that the coat was put on the body after the tarp was removed, which means when the knife was thrust through the coat into the body.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then That seals it! Makoto did it!
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right?
No, that's wrong. Wait, hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her!
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the tarp, and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay, fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body, the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
The victim was stabbed twice in the same spot? No, there's no way that's possible. The exact condition of the body was written down for everyone to see.
I got it! The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. Totally forgot about that.
Then the knife
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her. Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing. The explosion severely damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kind of goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway? Why'd the body just blow up all of a sudden like that?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum particle caused an atomic-level spontaneous combustion!
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make any headway on this.
There's only one explanation I can think of the explosion.
I got it! After the explosion, we found a tiny fragment of something on the ground near the body, right? That fragment reveals the cause of the explosion.
Huh? You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural, because of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma. It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb.
Anyway, the culprit's motive is becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto. And the only one who would benefit from that is the only other possible suspect. You, Kyoko.
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through. We still don't know what actually killed the victim.
That's true. It's definitely bugging me. What really killed her?
Fine. I have no problem with that. Let us continue the debate. It won't change the facts of the case regardless.
We need to determine what ultimately killed the victim. I need to concentrate. And concentrate, man.
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't because of the knife, right?
Nope.
Then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
The knife was a cover-up and all those other wounds on her body weren't fresh, which only leaves...
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined.
No, it's wrong. Mukuro died because of the blow to the back of the head she suffered.
What about the wounds all over the rest of her body? They didn't have anything to do with it?
The Monokuma file makes it clear that those weren't fresh wounds.
Oh yeah, good point. If they were old, I guess they don't really matter.
Okay, then we're safe in assuming the blow to the back of her head is what killed her.
But then, what was the murder weapon?
The Monokuma file says she was hit with a blunt object, about as thick as a metal pipe.
Oh, I bet it was the pickaxe.
No.
How is that even possible? If you hit someone with that, it'd cave their skull in completely.
Well, maybe they held it the other way and hit her with the handle.
No way! The balance would be all off. You wouldn't be able to swing it with any kind of power. I wouldn't mind testing it on you if you want.
No thanks. I bet you just hit me with the metal end and call it an accident.
I'd love to scoop out that nasty brain of yours, throw it on the ground and spit on it.
I feel the same way. Looks like we're on the same page this time.
Seriously?
We want to figure out what killed her, right? It just so happens we already know.
We already know? I knew we could count on you, Master.
So what was it?
Go ahead and tell them, Makoto. Surely you've deduced the real murder weapon?
Yeah.
I got it! Mukuro was hit in the back of the head with something, and that's what killed her. And that something was the titanium arrow we found in the locker in the dojo.
Arrow. That's what the culprit attacked Mukuro with?
Indeed. There's no doubt about it.
Are you sure? That sounds kind of weird.
Hey! How dare you backtalk, Master? You have no right!
I'm not backtalking anything. I'm just saying what I think.
I don't blame Hina for adopting it, because there's one more thing about that weapon. One more secret. The duct tape.
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
You sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, cause in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master! You have no right!
It was just the titanium arrow, it wouldn't be nearly thick enough, which is why this used
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, cause in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
No, that's wrong! You're right. Just the one arrow would have been too weak. That's why the killer used another weapon.
Another weapon?
Inside the dojo locker, we also found a balled-up wad of duct tape. The killer probably used this duct tape to bind multiple arrows together. Bundling them together using the duct tape would easily create a single weapon as thick as a pipe.
Oh my god!
And that's exactly what the killer did.
It's similar to Aesop's fable about the bundle of sticks. One stick is weak, but put them together, and they become strong. It's meant to teach cooperation.
Damn, that's harsh.
How is it harsh? Are you even listening?
Anyway, that explains the murder weapon. As for who the culprit is that stashed the weapon in the dojo locker, it was you, Kyoko.
I've never been to the dojo.
Oh no, you absolutely have.
How can you say that with such confidence?
Because we have proof, of course. Don't we, Makoto? What's the matter? Surely you don't intend to protect a murderer. You know what will happen if you do, don't you? If you cover for the culprit, there's only one thing that can lead to. The death of us all, remember?
Of course I remember.
Then show us. Show everyone the evidence that proves Kyoko went to the dojo.
I have evidence. Evidence that Kyoko went to the dojo. It must be connected to the dojo locker. Yep.
I got it! The one thing that proves Kyoko was in the dojo is right here. The key to the dojo locker.
And how does that prove anything?
Because I found it in your room.
It was in my room?
Don't bother trying to play dumb. That key is just the final piece of the puzzle. Your non-existent alibi, your clear motive, your attempts to frame Makoto for the crime. This all proves that you are the true culprit. You can't explain this away, so just give up.
Hold on a second.
Not this again. You really are dead set on defending her, aren't you?
No, it's not that I want to defend her. It's just, there's one more thing I need to ask her. Kyoko, I want you to tell me something. Last night, you were in my room, weren't you? Why? What were you doing there? That's what I need to know.
I was just protecting you.
What?
She was protecting me? And does that mean she knew I was being attacked? And she came to my rescue? Could that be when... Which would mean that Kyoko... She killed someone for me?
That's enough. The time for idle chatter is over. A verdict is close at hand.
Wait. I'm warning you. Don't make this mistake. I'm not the killer.
I knew you were stubborn, but this is just getting ridiculous.
Really? But you should know better than anyone I didn't do it. Can you tell me I'm wrong?
I should know?
Yep, you should know. What? Yako should know better than anyone? What does that mean?
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would
Her key.
hide something from me.
Your room key.
That you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Wait, Kyoko gave her room key to Byakuya, right? Which would mean...
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct?
Oh, that's wrong.
Shoot!
No.
Those words you just spoke.
What do you... Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of and then left the locker key in my own room. But could I really have done that?
Those words you just
It's
spoke.
the other way around.
What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone.
Byakuya,
Master would never hide something.
there's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But could I really have done that?
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
No, that's wrong. If I'm right, Kyoko wouldn't have been able to get into her room
Huh? Why not?
because she had given her room key to Byakuya.
I see. So that's what you meant. And if I had the key to your room,
Then obviously I had no way of getting in. Without my room key, I couldn't have possibly put the locker key in there myself. Am I wrong?
it would appear not.
Then you're finally starting to understand.
No, that's not actually true. There was a clear contradiction in what Kyoko just told us. An obvious lie. But this isn't like her. to try and save herself with such a desperate lie? Does she really feel that threatened because she's the killer? Or is it something else? Was there some deeper meaning hidden in what Kyoko said earlier? If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us. A mastermind's trap. The mastermind is trying to trap Kyoko? But what if that's not really true? What can I do? What should I do? What should I do? The mastermind's trap? The victim was Mukuro? And Kyoko killed her? What does Kyoko really know? What am I supposed to do? Kyoko's lie. I'm the only one who knows it's a lie. I'm the only one who can expose it. But who can I trust? What am I supposed to do? The mastermind's trap. If you spend all your time trying to avoid danger, you'll never move forward. We know the danger, but if that risk means solving the mystery, we have no choice. Am I wrong? What do I do? I have to decide right here and now whether or not expose Kyoko. Pursue the lie. We will kill Kyoko right here and right now.
There was a lie hidden within Kyoko's statement just now.
A lie?
Isn't that right, Kyoko?
You said it. The burden of proof is on you. So let's hear it. Where's this lie, then?
Kyoko is definitely lying, and it must be because there's some other deeper truth she wants to keep hidden.
I didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my room.
Then, when we searched Kyoko's room, how else could the key have gotten there?
Someone other than me must have put it there. That's the only explanation.
Kyoko herself told me before the trial started that she had stolen something very important from the headmaster's room.
I didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my room.
No, that's wrong. No, Kyoko could have gotten into her room. You said so yourself, didn't you, Kyoko?
Betrayal, betrayal. Actually, to be precise, not quite. I used Monokuma's secret tool, which can open any lock in the school. What?
Monokuma's secret tool?
Kyoko stole it from the headmaster's room. It lets you get into any room in the school, which means she could have used it to get into her own room.
Then I guess that's it.
No.
You're giving up just like that? You admit to killing...
No, I'm simply recognizing that I lost.
What are you talking about?
Like I said, this was a trap, and I wasn't able to escape. So I lost. That's all this means.
Then, are you saying you really didn't... Kyoko, you really aren't the killer?
Okay, time's up!
Huh?
I'm sorry to say, but your time is up. All done, all finished. The class trial is all over.
But that's ridiculous! Since when is there any...
It's because you were late, so the trial started late and time ran out. So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you! But I guess we already know who the blackened is, don't we?
Good job! You got it right! Brilliantly right! You got it right? Does that mean Kyoko really is the killer? But something strange is going on here. There's something wrong with this whole class trial. Kyoko...
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment!
This time! Is everybody ready? Okay then!
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
I have killed Kyoko. And that's how the class trial of Mukuro Kisaba came to an end. I still had to wonder whether Kyoko was actually innocent or... Regardless, the truth was lost forever, even for me. I just stopped thinking about it. That was the end of Mukuro's class trial. And in the end, it would prove to be our last class trial. Once that case was over, there was never a single murder at Hope's Peak ever again. We had obtained peace in exchange for the lives of all the others. Peace, but only inside the school. Do you remember how Yasuhiro said the same mother of our children? 20% sure. And why is Toko dead? What the? No. Byakuya has also... Oh my. This is not the end I would want to have. Peace, but only for us. That was the only hope we had. Hope. Hope. Hope? This is Hope?
No! This isn't right!
Huh?
Makoto, why are you staring off into space? Don't you have a rebuttal for Kyoko's claim?
A claim? Oh, that's right. I have to... Do I expose Kyoko's lie or not? If you spend all your time trying to avoid danger, you'll never move forward. We know the danger, but if that risk means solving the mystery, we have no choice. Am I wrong? She's not wrong. I have to think about this very carefully. What do? I have to decide right here and now whether or not to expose Kyoko's lie. I let it go. Let it go. I've made my decision. I have to believe in Kyoko. There's no way she would kill someone. There has to be some secret here. Something that has to do with the mastermind trap that Kyoko mentioned.
Well, does no one have a rebuttal? Have you decided to accept her assertion as fact? I see. So you still refuse to accept it. I suppose we have to admit that Kyoko didn't put the locker key in her room, that it was someone else.
But who else could it have been?
I mean, Byakuya had a room key, right?
You! What are you trying to imply?
But of course I have an alibi. From nighttime on, I was with you guys the entire time. I couldn't possibly have killed anyone, or put the key in Kyoko's room.
Well, someone had to put the key in there.
There's only one other possibility I can think of. Someone could have had the key on them, then once they arrived at the scene, pretended to find it there.
It had to be Makoto, right?
I don't see any other option.
Makoto is to blame.
Wait a second. You've got it all wrong. Let's think about it one more time. There's gotta be a hidden side to this case.
Huh? A hidden side?
First of all, there's something off about this entire trial. You all see it, don't you? Mukuro, who we didn't even know existed, suddenly shows up dead, and then we're thrown into a trial. And Kyoko even said, it's a trap the mastermind set for us. So that's why this has to be...
Okay, time's up!
Huh?
Time's up! Class trial's all over! Everyone can stop talking now!
What? Time's up?
What do you mean time's up? There's no time's up. Since when have we...
It's because you were late, so we had to push back the start time. So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you!
Vote for Makoto.
Voting time?
Yay!
Now, who will be chosen as the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one?
Hey, hold on!
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
What? You think I am the killer? Sorry, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's all your fault. Everyone, you're wrong. You've got it all wrong. I didn't do it.
Yes, indeed.
Good job, everyone. Good job.
Yep.
Yeah, they got it right. No, I know that's not true. None of this makes any sense. This whole trial doesn't make any sense.
Hey!
It makes perfect sense.
Shing!
It's the same as always. It's just like the other class trials, and I'm gonna end it the same way.
Thrills, chills, kills!
It's time for your heart-pounding, positively thrilling punishment. Wait, why do I? Kyoko,
I don't expect you to forgive me. I know this is all my fault.
Kyoko.
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
It's not your fault, Kyoko. Yay, Alter Ego still alive. What is this? What's going on? Was that? Yeah, it had to be.
This is...
Alter Ego? Alter Ego? Is this some stupid virus from that stupid guy? He must have planned it when he invaded my network. Damn it all to hell. I don't believe this. It seems you finally made a miscalculation. No, you miscalculated from the very beginning.
What the heck?
What was that?
In other words,
What I am saying is you shouldn't have underestimated us. Why are you talking like that? You already won. I barely felt a thing. It was a pinch and itch. The stupid virus is gone now, got it? And so is Makoto. Maybe I didn't get to smash him flat, but you're never gonna see him again. To taste away in a garbage, stupid. In a way that's an even better special punishment. But it's still not enough. I'm still not satisfied. I'm still gonna bring a spear to the rest of you. Bring a spear to the entire world. Is he gone? Hey Kyoko, what's the meaning of all this? Just what the hell is going on?
Calm down.
It's okay, we're not the ones being trapped this time.
In other words,
Now it's the mastermind that is ensnared.
What did you say?
What are you talking about?
so...
You'll understand soon enough. Very soon indeed. The massive high school towers over all the other building in this bustling urban area. It's like the school stands at the center of the entire world. Top Speak Academy. It brings in top students from every field imaginable, a government-funded school of privilege. They say that if you come here and manage to graduate, you'll be set for life. With hundreds of years of tradition, it sends the cream of the crop into the workforce every year. It was built to raise hope in the nation's future, which makes Hope Speak a pretty fitting name. There are two things you need to attend this school. One, you have to already be attending high school. Two, you have to be the very best at what you do. No ordinary student could enroll here. The only way in is if you're scouted by the school itself. And standing there at the gate of the ultimate school, filled with the ultimate students, was me. What? Where am I? I woke up with my head resting on top of a hard wooden desk. My body felt heavy. It wouldn't be weird for me to zonk off in the middle of some boring class or whatever, but what was I doing asleep here just now? It wasn't any classroom I'd ever been in before. What the heck is going on? I could finally feel my mind and body start to come back together again, and then I was awake. Or was this just another dream? A dream inside a hopeless nightmare? No, this isn't a dream. I could tell because the stench invading my nostrils was too powerful for a dream. What an awful smell. I was in a vast, dark cavern with the barest hint of light seeping in. Trash was piled high all across the area. This must be some kind of underground garbage pit. A heck of a situation to find myself in. But what was just the beginning of my problems? But that was just the beginning of my problems. Was I going to be stuck in there till I wasted away and died? No, I can't let that happen. No, not after what my good friend went through to save me. I remembered all too well what had happened. Alter Ego saved me, and he used up the last little bit of his strength to do it. So I can give up now, for myself and for my friend. And with that, my pursuit of survival began. First up was to start looking for a way out of here. Okay. I make a short pause here. So, a short pause. Okay, I'm back. So what should we do here? What are we gonna do? This is a desk. It's probably the one that fell down here with me. That's a rocket and a tank. I'd better not think too much about what I'm seeing down here. Is that an airplane? How would something like that wind up in that school's garbage pit? It's locked. No matter how many times I pushed or pulled or kicked at it, it didn't budge. Getting out of here isn't gonna be that easy. Well, if I'm not getting out of here anytime soon. I decided to look around for some food. There's plenty of food here, but it's all rotten. But that was pointless too. Next, I searched for some water. How can I be sure which liquids I can drink and which ones are an all-around bad idea? Again, pointless. I feel like I'm blocked in on all sides. But that's still not enough reason to give up because I'm still alive. As long as I'm alive, I'll never give up. After making that proud declaration, the next thing I decided to do was go to sleep. My sleep was deep and uninterrupted. That was my only way to preserve what little strength I had left after not being able to eat or drink. I can't be sure, but I think at least a full day had to have passed. And all I did was sleep and sleep. It was like I was waiting for some kind of sign to come falling out of the sky. However, what fell from the sky wasn't a sign. Not exactly. What the? A strange sound pierced my silent isolation, jarring me awake. As I watched, the pile of garbage jostled and formed an odd shape. Did something fall down over there? Something fell from up above? What could it have been? Oh. Did a giant piece of trash just fall down here? I carefully stretched my hand out to whatever it was that had tumbled down here with me.
Just a second.
A giant piece of trash? Rude. Before she even emerged from the pile of garbage, I knew who it was. Kyoko!
It smells awful.
Kyoko!
Indeed.
You look like you're doing better than I expected. What are you doing here?
So...
Isn't it obvious? I'm here to help you. I'm glad to hear that, Kyoko. You've got a bit of garbage in your hair. She gave her head a quick sharp shake to get rid of the trash, then faced me again.
Hey.
First, I have something for you. Go ahead and eat it. We can talk once you're finished. Thank you! I snatched the bread and water that she was holding out for me. Within seconds, it was in my mouth and making its way toward my stomach. That really hit the spot. Now I've got all the energy I need to keep going. So you still haven't given up then? Of course not. After all, the fact that I can keep going forward is all about all I'm good at. Well, that's not such a bad thing to be good at. But Kyoko, why'd you come to rescue me?
So...
To pay a debt. Or no, to atone. Atone?
You...
During the trial, even though you knew I was lying, you didn't say anything. So you knew that I knew.
Indeed.
But even though I knew, I did nothing to help you. I abandoned you. Don't say that. You didn't abandon me. No, that's exactly what I did. I abandoned you in order to save my own life. You were trying to save me, and I couldn't bring myself to do the same for you.
However...
But listen, not that I'm trying to make excuse, but there was a reason that I had to survive, no matter the costs. Why did you have to survive?
It's true.
I'll tell you everything. The reason I have to survive,
In other words...
is so that I can do what I came to this school to do. What? I made up my mind to come to Hope's Peak Academy for one very important reason. So you have some reason for coming to Hope's Peak?
Indeed.
That's right, at least I did once. Once? Until recently, I'd forgotten what it was. You forgot, but that's... I had no memory of what my purpose was. No memory? That's impossible. Amnesia? Then, is it really true? You lost your memory?
Makoto.
Do you remember Makoto? Do you remember the first thing that happened to each of us as soon as we arrived at the school? First thing? You're talking about when we fainted, right? I fainted, and when I woke up, I was trapped here.
That's right.
I fainted too, and when I woke up, I noticed a strange feeling of separation within myself, a disconnect.
It would seem...
Thinking back on it now, at that point my memory was gone. At that time, I'd forgotten. I couldn't remember why I'd come to the school, and I couldn't remember what my ultimate ability was. But what would make you forget all that?
Hey.
Strange, isn't it? It's hard to imagine it happened by chance. It seems much too convenient. Are you saying you think you lost your memory because...
Indeed.
I don't think. I'm positive it was the work of the mastermind. They stole my memory. But why would they want to do that? There's only one reason I can come up with. Because of my purpose and my ability, somehow they would interfere with their mastermind's plans. So the mastermind just stole them from you?
However...
And it could also mean somehow my memories may be connected to the mystery of the school and the mastermind, which is why I have to get them back. That's why I've been investigating things by myself this whole time. But if what you say is true, why didn't you ask the rest of us to help you?
Why is that?
If I did that, and we all worked as one, the mastermind would have noticed right away. Plus, there's always the chance that the mastermind is actually one of us. What?
Correct.
Well, don't make too big a deal of it. It's just a possibility. But since it is a possibility, we can't ignore it, right? The mastermind one of us? If she believed that, then of course she couldn't trust anyone around her. In which case, it only makes sense that she would look into her missing memory by herself.
However...
That being said, there was a limit to what I could do by myself, which is why I asked you to help me. But why me? Because among everyone, you were least likely to be the mastermind. That was just intuition, but... I see. Your intuition was right though. There's no way an ordinary kid like me could have been the mastermind.
I understand. I should understand everything. My goal isn't to get out of here. It's to stay here.
It's just like the dream I had before, but why did that just happen?
Listen.
Are you okay? Oh yeah, it's nothing. It is nothing, right?
Hey,
Even now, I still trust you, you know. It's just, I'm not used to relying on others.
correct.
I know I never asked you for help the right way, so I understand if you're not convinced. Honestly, I was convinced. I think that's just your personality. You said you had a reason for doing all that investigating on your own. So, how did it turn out? Were you able to remember anything?
So,
I think there's still a lot I don't remember, but at the very least, I was finally able to recall my purpose and my ability. You mentioned your ability. My ability, what everyone should have known me for. I'm the ultimate detective. The ultimate detective?
correct.
And the reason I came to Hope's Peak Academy, there was someone I had to find here in the school. Whatever it took, I had to find them. Yeah,
Correct.
you had to find someone? Who?
So,
Well, it was the headmaster of Hope's Peak Academy. The headmaster? Why did you want to find the headmaster? Because he's my father. What? What?
in other words,
I was separated from him as a child. As it turns out, he became the headmaster of Hope's Peak. Kyoko's dead. Is Hope's Peak headmaster? Then that explains. An alter ego told us how he thought the headmaster was involved. I'll find a way. No matter what it takes, I'll find the headmaster.
no matter what.
No matter the cost.
So,
Kyoko, what is going on? My memory hadn't come back at that point, but when he said that, I felt strange. It makes perfect sense now, of course, since my whole purpose for coming here was to find him. That makes sense.
However,
But listen, Makoto, I want to make this perfectly clear, so there's no misunderstanding. I said the headmaster wasn't the mastermind, but I didn't say that to protect him. I only said what I felt based on what I'd seen when I snuck into the headmaster's room. Then, what did you see in there?
so,
The room had been ransacked. The shelves were a mess, the desk drawers dumped on the floor. The only conclusion is that someone who didn't know where anything was had been in there. You mean the mastermind, right?
it's true.
That was my assumption, yes. And to confirm my suspicion, I decided to investigate the second floor of the dorms using the key I'd found. But why there? Because I also found this in the headmaster's room. this is some kind of map?
Indeed.
It's a layout of the entire of Havoc Academy. I found in the headmaster's room, along with Mukuro's profile and the key. The map showed that the second floor was home to a number of rooms meant for faculty use. Some of the staff must have had to stay overnight from time to time. And I figured the headmaster would have some kind of private room there. I assumed that if that were true, that room would likely hold more clues, so I went to check.
Correct.
And that's when I finally remembered. I remembered that my purpose was to find the owner of that room. So you went there to see if the headmaster really did have a private room there?
However,
but once I got there, I noticed that the second floor of the dorms didn't have any cameras or monitors. So, what was it like, that part of the school, I mean? It's hard to describe. All I can say is, the moment I saw it, I realized whatever's going on in this school is more horrific than we ever imagined. What do you mean?
So...
I can explain it. You need to see it for yourself, and I'm sure you'll get your chance soon enough. It sounds like it must be important and really ominous.
However...
Of course, okay. It has to do with Mukuro Ikusaba, doesn't it?
However...
Just to be perfectly clear, I didn't kill her. And I know it wasn't you either. I know you're right, but that just means everyone but you and me had an alibi. So then who did kill her?
Anyway...
What I can say for sure is that the mastermind is directly involved. To begin with, the point of the class trial of Mukuro Ikusaba was to get me killed. Get you killed?
Indeed.
I stole that key and disappeared, and in retaliation, they wanted to draw me out and eliminate me.
Correct.
That was the point of the class trial. It was? The mastermind knew they couldn't interfere directly. You mean because of the school regulations?
That's right.
Exactly. Within minimum restrictions, you are free to explore Havoc Academy at your discretion.
In other words,
The mastermind is adamant about following the rules, and with that rule in place, they couldn't step in. Since they couldn't kill me themselves, they tried to use the class trial to do it. The mastermind couldn't step in because of the rules? That makes it sound like the mastermind themselves is somehow bound by their school regulations.
Hey.
There's one other thing I'd like to point out about the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba. What's that? There was a point where Mukuro may not have become the victim. It could have been you, Makoto. I could have become the victim?
Indeed.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Do you mean during the night? I can hear them, you know. The footsteps of the god of death. What? I can hear the god of death as he moves. That ability naturally draws me into cases just like this.
Anyway...
Which is exactly what happened with you. I was in the dorms and I had a sudden sense of dread. I looked down the stairwell. and I saw a white shadow cross the corridor. I gave chase right away. As I followed it, I saw the shadow go into your room.
Correct.
I ran into your room and I saw what was happening. I intervened immediately, of course.
However,
That wasn't the end of things, of course. I stopped them, but that led to... Whoever the masked assailant was, they ended up dead.
correct.
And their murder was disguised, and the Georgia key wound up in my room. It all has to be the work of the mastermind in an attempt to use the class trial to eliminate me. So all this would mean that whoever killed Mukuro is also the mastermind, right?
Indeed.
I don't have conclusive evidence, but that's what I think. But that's really bad if true. It means the mastermind can kill whoever they want if they feel like it. Wait, but doesn't that create another contradiction? The mastermind wanted to use the class trial to try and kill you cause they couldn't interfere, right?
Correct.
You're right. That is a contradiction. And it's not just Mukuro. They needed the class trial to kill me, but seemed ready to kill you in your room. Everything they did is a contradiction. So, what does it all mean?
In other words,
It means that the mastermind is the one who's been cornered. Huh?
Makoto.
Just a little more. A little more and I should be able to figure out the mastermind's identity. The identity of the other ultimate despair. The other ultimate despair? There's no doubt that Mukuro was the ultimate despair and that she's dead. But I don't think the ultimate despair is just one person. It's not?
Indeed.
If you think about it, the ultimate despair seems to implicate whoever caused that event. You're talking about
That's right.
what happened a year ago, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. A tragedy, whoever's responsible for that, they are the ultimate despair. But this despicable group whose only purpose and motivation comes from despair, then they are, make no mistake, they are the root of all the evil that has forced us to go through this. That is the ultimate despair, and that is our real enemy. The end. Dream Island Rocket. Okay. And that's enough for me for today. Oder auch, keine Ahnung, vielleicht auch überlegen mir, ob ich später nochmal streame. Bin gerade richtig fertig. I'm saving. So, wir haben gespeichert und ich bedanke mich fürs Zuschauen und vielleicht später oder morgen streame ich dann zu Ende. Man merkt ja schon, dass sich das Spiel dem Ende neigt. Okidoki. Dann viel Spaß noch, schönen Abend noch und wir sehen uns. Bye bye.